Welcome to the Dreaming with Duns YouTube channel. My name is Duns. I'm a facilitator, artist, and innovator that has helped many individuals and organizations unlock their potential and move with more purpose and passion. And I'm bringing my insight and experiences directly to you with this channel. Because I am who I am, this experience is going to be a balance of play and silliness right alongside respect for the significance of the topics I'm bringing forward. My first set of videos are going to be all about navigating conflict with grace, skill, and strategy. And if you are still here and you haven't closed this video, here's what I know about you. Some part of you wants to navigate conflict better. It could be for your own sake. It could be on behalf of your family or friend group. It could be because there's young people in your life now and they're watching you, how you move, how you navigate conflict. It could be because navigating conflict has become your job or responsibility. Whatever it is, if you stick around and follow through with these set of videos on this topic, I guarantee you that you will be that much closer to being the kind of person you want to be in that next moment of tension. But before we dive too deep into our first lesson, let me tell you a little bit more about who I am. I was born and raised in West Philadelphia in the 90s and played a lot of sports growing up, mainly basketball. I also played some music, the violin, and though I didn't know it, the arts would become a big part of my life as an adult. Back to growing up, because I grew up the middle child. Some of my first experiences as an unpaid facilitator. From a very young age, I got very skilled at making sure that tension was eased all around me, between parents or between my siblings. I learned to make things easy for folks, and for those who don't know, the Latin root meaning of the word facilitator, facile, is to make easy, to make things easy. And I felt like I did that for my fam all the time, and that I started to anticipate the different things the folks around me needed. I started developing some skills of deep listening, intuiting, anticipating needs. It was good stuff, except the more I got better at navigating and supporting and managing other people's feelings, the less in touch with my own feelings and experiences I became. And when I would find myself in conflict, I often struggled to be specific and accurate about how I was really feeling because I never really had to think about it. Now, growing up, there were two main kinds of conflict styles I remember being introduced to in my community, whether it was at home or in the world outside my West Philly doors. The first conflict style was avoidance. There would be tension in the air, but it didn't get named directly or would go on while folks figured out how to be together and complete tasks, do things together, go to the supermarket, play well together, whatever. And maybe some of the tension came out a little bit sideways. It was indirect, snarky remarks, passive aggressiveness, cold shoulders, but it was mostly conflict avoidance. The other conflict style I got introduced to, I guess you could describe as like conflict bulldozer. The louder and more extra you could be in the conflict, the better. There could only be one winner, and it better be you. So for each of these conflict styles, they had some gifts to offer me, some positive qualities to take away. The former introduced me to the idea that even while in conflict, you could get stuff done. It's a good skill to know, good thing to remember. And the latter, the conflict bulldozing, invited me to think about the power of letting emotions go by letting them out and trusting that the emotions in you will move, that things could be forgiven, that you would figure it out once the emotions inside have room to breathe. But generally, these two styles had a lot of shortcomings. It would take me years to realize that my relationship to these early ways of understanding conflict, avoidance or bulldozing, would impact how I showed up in relationships all my life, whether they were friendships or family or romantic relationships or creative ones. How I saw people relating to conflict early on shaped how I showed up in conflict throughout my whole life. And so what I decided to do in 2020 was to go on a journey learning about conflict, how to relate to it, how to see it as generative and supportive and life-giving and natural. And I began to learn ways of how to navigate conflict skillfully. And what that really brought up and brought to my face is that I was not good at conflict. I stunk at conflict. I sucked at conflict. I was kind of whack at conflict. I was kind of corny at conflict. I was poo-poo at conflict. Wasn't good. And what I mean by that is that, like many of us, I did not get good guidance on disagreeing skillfully, taking or giving feedback, managing emotions, letting go and moving on, staying in it, separating the action from the person, forgiving, apologizing, critiquing in a generative way. None of those things I really learned how to do well. And guess what? You probably never learned it either. So you probably stunk at conflict too. Maybe you still do. I still do in lots of ways. And that's awesome. That's so cool. I'm so hyped. So glad you're bad at conflict because there's hope. We get to figure out how to get better. And figure out the areas we want to grow in, figure out the ways we want to get better, and we get to do that together. So through this series, we're going to break down some specific techniques and strategies that will help you improve how to navigate conflict. And the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is to think about how the people around you navigated conflict as you were growing up. So as I shared, I had the conflict avoidance and I had the conflict bulldozing. And maybe for you, you notice people get really collaborative, or you notice people retreat and kind of go into their own quarter, or maybe you watch people get really stressed out and not be able to function really well. Whatever it is, take some time to journal about at least 2 people that you loved growing up and reflect on a little bit about their conflict style, their relationship to conflict, and also take a moment to write down how their relationship to conflict impacted your relationship to conflict. Do that, jot it down, take a moment. That's part 1 of our homework, because everything we do from here on out is going to build on some of your earliest indoctrination, some of your earliest stories, memories, experiences, watching the people around you navigate conflict, and then picking up on those habits and either going right towards them or totally trying to go the opposite way of them. This is Duns once again, excited to be on this conflict journey with you. Welcome to Dreaming with Duns.